Silver and stone, silver and stone. All right, Silverstone. This layout of Silverstone, the newer version of it, is probably one of my worst tracks. I'm not good here. Was able to get a 206 143. I think the fast guys will be doing 203s, probably, maybe even quicker. I don't know. But I struggle mightily with the quick direction shifts on this track and any others that have that same kind of concept. But I was pretty happy with what I was able to get down to. Maybe we can go quicker, but I probably won't be going even this quick in the races. I'll back out a little bit just to make it safer. Who knows? I'm just waffling. Let's show you the lap and then go through how we did it, and then we'll finish up with some final thoughts.
Sector 2 time is good. That was 206.14. Sector 3 time is fast.
All right, Silverstone Porsche Cup fixed setup. Have not touched brake bias or anything like that. Got ourselves a 206 143. We're gonna go through how we did that. Gonna exit on this corner here, but we'll go through how we do that at the end of the lap. But we're full. You have to lift a little bit there, but we're full throttle. 100 is gonna be the braking marker here. It's gonna be just a short little break. We're not trying to bleed off a ton of speed. Just kind of trying to get the tires to bite in so we can actually make this turn. On the right curbing here, we're going to take a little bit of it, and I kind of want to make sure I hit early. If I do later, it's an off track, so I'm kind of aiming. My mind is I'm trying to get this early, and it works okay. And once we kind of hit that, we're back on the throttle part way, and then as we're turning in, we'll get the rest of the way on the throttle. And then sometimes I have to lift here. Ideally we don't, but for this corner, so we don't this time, but be prepared if you're a little off kilter, have a lift, and that'll save you from spinning. There's gonna be a lot of people spinning in these races. Yeah, we're full throttle through here. We're gonna go wide, and then we're gonna want to brake a bit before the 100 marker, where we're aiming. It's pretty. We're lifting now. We're aiming to come back towards the 50 there. So now we're on the brakes, braking, trying to get towards the 50, and we're gonna have to immediately come back to the right. This is a really tough section this is one of my hardest tracks. Just the extreme direction changes are rough. We're just holding that brake pressure as we come around here. We're gonna go pretty slow through this and the next corner, but we're just holding that brake pressure until we kind of get the car turning around. Oh, it's so tough. And then we're gonna come back on the throttle as we hit the apex, but not all the way. Then we get the car straightened out. We can get back on full throttle for a little bit. And we're gonna immediately have to lift and start turning towards the left here. Just hold that little bit of brake pressure as we're coming through. We're going pretty slow. It feels like an eternity. We're just holding that brake pressure, trying to get the car turning. It's a lot of wheel. We're gonna put a little bit of throttle in, but it was too early, so we have to tap the brakes again. And now we can get back on the throttle. And then as we straighten the wheel out a bit more, we're coming onto the curb, we can get full throttle. This corner, I have a tendency to try and turn in too early. We want to make sure that you can see the darker area that's been used more. We want to follow that. But I have a tendency to like want to turn in now, and that's like way too early. So we're going to turn in here, and I think I missed it just a little bit on this lap, but we're full throttle. You can take this full throttle if you goof up. Just a tiny little lift here I found helps out a lot. But yeah, we're full throttle. We missed the apex a little bit there, but this was still my best lap. Taking this corner better, but altogether this was the best one I could put together before I hit the point of diminishing returns. But we are full throttle through here. We're gonna wait till a little bit before the 100 marker. There's gonna be a little bit of curbing on the right. This white curbing is kind of what I'm aiming for my braking point here. These are the ones, like, they're not as hard for me as far as like not spitting out the car, but they're the ones I'm the slowest through. This corner and like I think Megates and Beckett is called. But yeah, we're just holding the brake pressure, easing off of it, and just we're gonna be very light on the brakes coming through this, but we're still holding a little bit of brake pressure to come through. Downshifting, we're in third now, and we're gonna get down to second. There we go. And hold second through here. Once we get past this, we can start thinking about putting a little bit of throttle back in. Try and use these red markers for like acceleration points, but they were straighten the car back out. We can get back on the throttle a little bit, hit the rev limiter, but we need to start slowing down again, so we're not going to bother with a shift. Sometimes I shift to third, sometimes I don't really think it's super necessary. Maybe it's a bit quicker. There are guys that are plenty faster than me, but we're just holding a little bit of brake pressure as we come around. And I think the ideal place to get back on the throttle, there's these red markers again on the inside of the curb, is going to be between, I think there's 4 of them, but there's 2 at the end, and like the second from the end, like in between, not that one. But I hit the throttle early, so I have to lift. I think right about here would be where you'd want to actually get on the throttle, but so there's 4 of them, between the second and the third one would be a good spot, but I hit it early, so it kind of messed up the timing a little bit, but not horribly so we're just kind of pulsing the throttle because of that. But now we can open up the wheel, and as we come out, let the car go, and then we can get back full throttle. And then we've got a big long straightaway. We can use a little bit of this curb here. Now we're gonna go 100 marker, we're gonna hit the brakes. Just a little punch on it. And then we're gonna hold those brakes until there's some red markers on the inside of this corner coming up here. Just a little bit of brake pressure, trying to ease off of it. Now we can start feeding some throttle in. And we can get back to full throttle with the wheel open a bit, but we're still going to end up opening up the car all the way to this curve. Just full throttle through here, try and get over to the right. The next braking point is kind of where this corner comes out, maybe a little bit past it. We're going to come on over this way. And this is another one of mine where I'm really slow. I'm not too worried about spinning out the car until the exit, which I can do pretty easy, but yeah, we're getting on the brakes. And we're gonna hit just the black and white part of this with our right tires. Back on the throttle a little bit. We're not gonna hit full throttle. I don't really have a good spot where I hit my brakes again, but looks like kind of at the end of this green here, but I'm not looking at that. I just kind of have a spot in my head, I guess. We're just gonna hold that brake a little bit in third. Then as we come around, we're gonna put a little bit of throttle in. And my exit here was not amazing, but it wasn't awful. A lot of this lap was just not, it was like all kind of middle of the road, but it got put together. So we're going to hold the brakes a little bit here. We come around and get back on the throttle a little bit. I think I did it a little bit too early again. But we're just going to hold that part throttle. I think I turned it a little bit early there too, just a little bit later. But then as we get over here, we can get all the way back on the rest of the throttle. It's super bumpy here, so be careful. It's super easy to get on the throttle at the wrong time, to upset the car and send yourself into that wall. It's not fun. But anyway, let's go full throttle through here, and then we're gonna brake at the 150, maybe just a tiny bit past it. So hit the brakes. And we're going to aim to get down to fourth for this this part up here, but we're in fifth right now. We're holding the brakes. We're going to hold them until there's, again, those little red markers on the inside of the curb, and we're going to use those for when we want to switch from the brakes to the throttle there. Just holding a little bit of brake pressure, keep the weight on the front wheels. And here these markers come, and we're gonna start to put a little bit of throttle in. Then as we straighten out the wheel, we can go the rest of the way. And we're gonna come out all the way over to the left here. And then we're gonna brake. I like to brake. There's this yellow patch of grass here. That's kind of what I'm using for my braking point. It's a little bit before the 100 there. And I'm gonna get all the way down to second for this corner. It's a pretty slow one. And it's, again, a little bumpy here, so it's a little sketch. We're just gonna hold the brake pressure. So we can come around. And then we're back on the throttle. And playing with this, I've found that upshifting here, I think actually a little dab on the brakes would help a little bit for this corner, but just upshifting the third and then coming back on the throttle here, you don't have to worry too much about the higher gearing helps with not spinning in this corner, getting on the throttle sooner. We can hold that full throttle through here, and we're gonna come around for this corner. Can't take this part flat. I mean, you probably can, but it's going to be super iffy and not consistent, at least for me. So we got to lift a little bit for this one. Once we get over, we can get back on the throttle. And coming around, we've gotten ourselves a 206-143. So yeah, like I said, one of my toughest tracks. I am super anxious about trying to send it too hard through one of these corners and either spinning it or having to catch the car and just losing a bunch of times and maybe getting run over in the process. So fingers crossed for the races coming up. If you like the video, thumbs up. If you didn't, I understand. If you think I deserve it, hit the subscribe button. It helps out. And head on over to twitch.tv/thepiltdown. Man, this is so much stuff I'm asking you to do. I'm sorry. We'll see you next time. Bye.